Alright, I just did a very subjective Dave's point of view video on the love languages and the math of how they allegedly overlap with the same math as the sexual functions and all that kind of stuff. Again, just our observations at this time, don't really know for sure in the process of, right? So since I'm on a good streak here of subjective Dave point of view, I want to kind of share with you where I'm seeing the social needs, not really talking about love languages, but just talking about the social archetypes. And again, what I'm looking for is, can people consistently, independently type it? That's when we know that we got something for real, right? So I want to share with you the positives I'm seeing so far. So let me start with probably my favorites. The fucking number. Like, how's this? How perfect is this? Like, is that not a number 4? Hey guys, hey everybody, hey, like knocking shit over. So this is how I kind of see the number 4s. I'm kind of going on a superhero theme here. Kind of leaning up to the 3s. The 3s are the ones I've been trying to process lately, right? So I think this is perfect for a number 4. Just a happy-go-lucky fun. But then also, what I'm seeing with the 4s is, dude, they can fucking throw a taxi cab, dude. They're fucking really good at what they do. Right now, they might be goofing off a little bit too much, but they've got the specialization. And if you're going up against a 4 and they've put time in their specialization, they're gonna fucking get you. And there's different entrepreneurs and people that I'm looking up to that I follow, and I realize they're 4s, and I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Because it's like, I get the friends thing. Like, okay, they're super nice, they're super great, they like to enjoy life now, and that's cool. That makes them very likable, and you think they're not threatening, but it's just like they're really, really good at whatever it is they specialize in, because they're like a 3 in that way, The other thing that I see consistently is that they have this philosophy of, what the fuck is wrong with everybody? Why do you not want to enjoy life now? Right? So this is what really separates the 4s from the rest of the pack. When you look at the 3s, the 2s, and the 1s, and how they're fucking it up, they're all like driven towards some like positivity in the future. All of them, the 3s, the 2s, and the 1s, they all have some agenda. They all have some scam. They all have some plan, right? The number 3 is like, look, if I can work my way up, and the 2 is like, I'm gonna build a business, and the number 1's like, I'm gonna conquer. Like, they all have some fucking story that in the end, it turns out good for them when they're older, when they retire, when they conquer, when they make $1 million, right? Not the motherfucking 4s. The 4s are like idiots. Life now. Life now. Enjoy your friends and family now. And the 4s, it's kind of funny. It's like the sexuals, where it's like the double feminines and the masculines. It's like you get so masculine that you become feminine again. Like, we see a lot of double masculines like being gay. It's like almost like a wheel, not necessarily a spectrum. The 1s and the 2s and the 3s, they're like, yeah, I'm gonna do something and I'm gonna make something meaningful. And then what are the stories on their deathbed? They're like, oh, I wish I was a number 4. I wish I would have just enjoyed life now. I wish I would have just hung out with my friends and family now. I made my goals. Well, now what, right? So that's a real, like, you'll look up to the number 1s. You're like, yeah, I got to get on it. I gotta fucking get focused. There's a lot of inspiration from all the types. And for the 4s, the takeaway inspiration where I'm like, yeah, man, I'm fucking up, is just not enjoying life now. Right? So that's positivity of the 4s. Jumping to the number 1s, right? So the number 1s, it's like all the types. I think this is probably the most extreme version is you got to look for the good ones and the bad ones. Because you got to be careful with that. You get on the Myers-Briggs and you meet an INFJ and you like them and you think all INFJs are great. Andrew Tate's an INFJ, motherfucker. So now what do? Right? So you can't put positive or negative based upon, well, I knew somebody that was an ENTP and they were awesome, or they sucked, and like, you fuck it up. You got to know there's good and bad of all the types. And so luckily for myself, when I first started to see the number 1s, I went through the way of like Mr. Beast and Gary Vee. And so my first initial bias was, wow, number 1s are very positive, very inspirational. And that's kind of, my default is I've stuck with that. Though there's a lot of really bad ones that are really scary and really dangerous. And they're the dictators, they're Donald Trump, they're Kim Jong-il of North Korea. Where they're like, yeah, I'll be the king and I'm going to fuck everybody over. And I have no problem with that. So that's really the thing that I look for with the number 1s, is this emotional state. I got no problem with that. Like, hey, you're at the top and you're getting obeyed. Yep, no problem, right? So meaning, like, if you're a 2, a 3, or a 4, and somebody puts you at the top and gives you praise and obeisance, you're like, hey, that's great for a day. I remember that at my brother Joe's wedding. I believe him to be a 4, and it's like, it was such a fuck off of, like, it was so silly, it was so ridiculous. I couldn't stand it. It was so emotionally cringy. Because he's such a 4 where he's always friends with everybody. But on the wedding day, it was just this King Amidala praise and flowers. And now we're going to create a thing and we're going to run through it. And now everybody go over here. Just like this. It was just this demon swing of we're the king and queen. Give us all the praise. It was just so fake. It was like at a Disneyland presentation. I couldn't stand it. Because it's like not who he is as a number 4. But then it was like this swing into I'm going to be the absolute king for the day. And just everybody has to like throw their jackets down and walk on your back. You're like, it was so fucking weird, right? And so you'll see that in the swings of it, you know? But on a number 4, or 3 and a 2, they're not going to be like, all right, that was just my wedding day. Give me praise and obeisance. I'm just getting my jollies out. All right, let's get back to real life where everybody's kicking my fucking ass, right? But the number 1s are like, nope, let's do that every day. And I'm fine with that. You're like, that's weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, you couldn't pay me to be the president of the United States. I'd be like, get me out of here. I don't want to be the guy at the top. Fuck this. So you got to look for that. Like, hey, do you want to be the guy at the top? Most people are like, if you really think about it, you'd be like, yeah. And then you really think about it, you're like, wow, no, I don't want to do that. I can see the vision, follow and trust me. Again, could go good or bad, right? So the crazy number 2s, right? So there he is wearing his underwear on the outside of his pants, right? They're friends. They're super friends. They're fucking silly idiots. Yes, they can kill you because they're very deadly because they're super friends. But they're also silly idiots. I do see the 2s and 4s being very much alike. I see they both are like, okay, let's work with friends. But then the 2s are like, let me just work in a lot of areas, and the 4s are like, let me just specialize, right? And now the thing with the 2s is that they're just so fucking ridiculous as far as like they can't really put it together. Like let's do it all together, but I don't do green rocks. There's always that catch. There's that catch of like they're managing 50 things, but I won't specialize in this. I'm gonna just keep jack of all trades, running around doing all this kind of crazy stuff. It's really hard. It's where the 2s really need the 3s and the 4s as well. They really need to like, look, I cannot get this thing done enough. Can you just sit right here and just specialize in this and spend 18 hours a day and just get this one thing done so I can stand on that and then go all the way back around. And that's a really hard thing to manage. I feel like the 4s and maybe the 3s, like they would have kind of an easier deck of cards to deal with. Like, what? I just got to have friends and work on something. Now it's hard economically because the economy's changed so much where that wasn't the case. It's very different now. You can't just specialize in one job and then be nice to everybody, and that's going to be good in 20 years because things are moving kind of fast. You know what I'm saying? So there's pros and cons depending on where you are, your economy, your situation of the challenges. But I know for the 2s, the challenge is goddamn. There's too many things that need specific details and focus in to get done, and they just keep running around. That's why it's like if you're an EP and a number 2, it's like you're like a save your play EP. You're like doubling, tripling down. You're a 2 of a 2 of a 2. You know what I'm saying? For me, I got a little bit of a contradiction of like, I've got some IJ, or I am an IJ, so I have some specialization, I have some focus from my functions, but the extrovert in me, that really fucks me off, that makes me more like a 2, and then me being a 2 makes me more like a 2, so it's like, I look at 3s, some are IJs, some are not, and I'm like, goddamn, that's specialization, that's focusing, like, I'm an IJ, I should be focusing and specializing, and I'm making a mess of shit. What the fuck is going on there? I used to just blame it on extrovert. Oh, it's because I'm sleep last play. It's like, well, I've seen sleep last play number 3s, and they're back to focusing. So what the hell happened? I'm like, oh, God. So for myself, I kind of enjoy the contradiction, because I'll talk to a lot of EPs that are number 3s, and it's the same deal, where they get a contradiction. Or if you're doubling down, it really doesn't matter. There's pros and cons to everything, right? All right, let me get into the 3s. The 3s are the ones I've been trying to kind of process lately. I feel like those are the shadow ones. You know what I mean? There's always that one that's in the corner. You're like, okay, what the hell is that one up to? And so there's pros and cons to 3s, of course. Like, they could get into a lot of trouble because they're too specialized. So if you're an introverted IJ and a number 3, yeah, you're going to probably over-specialize and therefore be missing all the other departments. And that's the demon responsibility. Now, I know that's a tricky word because they're being hyper-responsible up here. You know what I'm saying? It's a focus responsibility, right? Because the same with the coins. It's not that I'm not gathering. I'm just gathering inside my box. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't be the thing of like, well, I am either a thinker or a feeler. Like, hey, dumbass, we're all both, right? So everybody's got responsibility. It's like, the way I look at it is like hoses. Like, it's all this, and Freud talked about this. It's the same amount of energy. Is your responsibility like this, or is it like this? That's it. So the 3s are responsible in one area at a time. Now, what I've seen, the ones that get it right, the 3s that get it right, is that they actually do build it a step at a time, and they do have to have a trusted structure that allows them to actually work that out, right? Because the 2s and the 1s, they can be like, oh, my structure isn't working out, my path isn't working out, that's okay, I see the vision, I'll just make it up, and I'll just jump lily pads, and I'll kind of figure it out as I go, to some degree, The 3s, they're like, they have to kind of take it a step at a time, and then if that pathway is fucked up, then they go off a cliff and they get stuck. But if they're following a trusted path, like my dad with construction, he's a number 3, he had like a pre-laid out path of construction. Like he wasn't doing anything special. He's doing a normal construction business, and there you can go to college for that, which I think he did to some degree. You can research that, which he did. You can talk to others, which he did. And so it's a trusted, known path. If you follow these steps of construction, you do each thing right, then it works out just fine, which is exactly what he did. Became an extremely successful, very happy contractor guy in the Bay Area. And it was all a step at a time. I remember when I was a kid, just watching him just own one department at a time and then working all the way up. So in the end result, my dad, if you ever meet him, he looks like a number two. He's running a business, right? But no. He did this one step at a time. He didn't do it like how I'm doing it, where it's all at once and then too much, And then you'll have the flexing where they're tying their name to it, like you get this kind of the specialization of, okay, I got my one things. The friends, I'll work with Robin. I'll work with Gordon. I'll work with a couple of people. I'm not going to be a dick about it, but I'm not super social. But I can get by with friends, Now, the responsibility here is kind of like, the way to really think about this, it's like, and they covered this in the Dark Knight one, where they had some really interesting conversations with Bruce Wayne and Harvey Dent. And Alfred kept mentioning this to Bruce, saying, hey, probably the most that you could help people is being Bruce Wayne, not Batman, right? It's very true. And it's like, if you're a successful number two or number one, like that's actually, as the business guy, that's actually where you could help the most amount of people, is on the large scale. That's what Bruce Wayne's parents did, is they're philanthropists, business people. They're number ones and twos, right? And Bruce is like, fuck that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to sit in the boardroom. I don't want to listen to everybody's bullshit. Remember that in the pictures of Bruce Wayne just like asleep at the boardroom? It's like, I don't want to listen to your shit and your shit and your shit and your shit and all this kind of stuff. I want to get back to my motherfucking lab. I want to get back to my way of doing shit. I got my specialization. I'm going to build on that, right? And that's how I kind of see the number threes. The ones that are doing it right, they become a really focused force, Now, but again, it's very easy to fuck that up. You get that off, or you're not working with people or whatever, and you can tumble over pretty bad. I remember Joker even said to Batman, he's like, you have all these rules, and you think it'll save you. And it's like, yeah, the threes, they have rules. They got to follow a trusted path. They do have kind of rules. The threes are very kind of IJ-like, and they're following that trusted path because they have their name tied to something with that flexing. They're like miniature number ones, the way I see them. But then they're bringing in the tool of specialization. That's how they're going to pull it off, So again, this is all just very kind of my processing at this time. So it's a natural thing to go through this flow. It's a natural thing that you're going to feel like you're the best type, and then you're going to feel like you're the worst type, and you're going to feel like they're the best type, and they're the worst. That's all normal. That's all natural. Like kind of work through that, flow through that, because you'll get these waves where you'll start to see, oh my God, that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. Or there'll be some character. I think the Spider-Man probably the best one. The Spider-Man, like, God damn, that's that one. That one nails it right there. I can settle that. That makes so much sense of what the fours are doing when I look at it through the Spider-Man archetype. I can see that. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, it's a process. Takes time to work it out. Kind of discover yourself. This is a lifelong process. Everybody wants to get this done by fucking 30. I shoot for 55. That's what I'm doing. I'm trying to be happy, well-balanced, and have my life together by 55. Just to share that with you. That's the goal I'm shooting for. 55. That's when I feel like I'll have the things kind of balanced on top of things. So if you're younger than 55 and you don't have your life figured out, your type figured out, your parts figured out, and your balance figured out, and your saviors and your demons, you're doing all right.